So I've been thinking a lot about white privilege, and as black people, do we need to believe in something called white privilege? And what does it say for us as black people when we believe in this concept of white privilege? So white privilege is the concept that no matter what, if you're white, you're doing better than any black person ever because your skin is white. Doesn't matter if you're homeless. Doesn't matter if you're in prison. Doesn't matter. You're doing way better than every black person because your skin is white. So a lot of times these social justice warriors will say, oh, you're white, you don't have to worry about the cops harassing you. Well, I don't worry about cops harassing me. I'm a black woman and I live in Texas. I have actually been to jail for tickets. For 9 days, I went to jail for tickets. And I'm not oppressed. There were more white people in there than black people, to be honest. I know that isn't the norm when it comes to prison sentences, that there are a lot of black people in jail. But I tell you what, a lot of black people deserve to be in jail because of the crimes they commit in their neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods has that, see? I moved out of the black neighborhood when I was a kid because my single black mother said, you know what? People are breaking into our place all the time, and we're not safe here. So you know what we did? We moved to the first white neighborhood that we could afford. It happened to be a trailer park, and we were the first black people in this trailer park. But it was safe. We never got robbed when I lived there. And I actually grew up in a town called White Settlement as a little black kid in Texas. And I do not feel oppressed. I got to go to college, and my SAT scores were not that high. They weren't really high enough to just grant me admission. But I had to get a little interview, and they probably saw, oh, black female, let her in. There's probably some white kid with more qualifications than me, better SAT scores, who didn't get in because I did. I have privilege. When I went to Ghana recently, there were black people in the first class section and white people back there in coach. There's no such thing as white privilege. If you are getting bent out of shape by me saying there's no such thing as white privilege, then you're a black person that loves your victim status and you got a big fat chip on your shoulder that Mr. Steinberg put there through the media that you bought into. Or you're a white person who has some sort of social justice-y kind of white guilt and yet superiority thing going on, that you feel that you are superior and that you do have privilege, and you kind of, want to keep that, and you don't want somebody like me saying, wait a minute, no, you're not privileged. If you go to work every single day and you work a 40-hour work week or more, you're not privileged. If you pay taxes, you're not privileged. You got a mortgage, you got a car payment, you're not privileged. If you had to apply for your job, you're not privileged. The real privileged people in our society are probably more like the movie makers, the politicians, etc., etc. And all of those people happen to be Jewish. So if we were to really break it down, say that Jewish people have privilege, not white people, not black people. Black people probably actually, due to affirmative action, have more privilege than white people. I had a friend whose husband, they're both white, he kind of fell in some hard times before they got together, and he went to get some food stamps. They told his to go get a job. He didn't get any food stamps. But if I were to make like 5, 6 babies, I'd get a house, I'd get food stamps, I'd get some cash. So that's privilege. The real people that are oppressed in our society are probably white men. Those are the real oppressed people, because there's this campaign against white men that is it's really quite contrived. And it's really transparent. If you have any kind of IQ, you can see through this rubbish. And that's why the anti-social justice movement has so many fans. I, for one, am also a fan because I don't want people policing language. I don't want people pulling out my race card and throwing it on the table whenever they see fit that don't really like black people. The social justice warriors, I find, are the most racist of all. Whenever I say white privilege is a myth, they're the ones that get angry, and they say they feel sorry for me. Why do you feel sorry for me? Because I don't feel like a victim. You know, I'm sitting here telling you from my own experience. Black woman in Texas. Been to Europe. I've traveled, okay? Been to Africa. I know what it's like in other places. And I still don't feel oppressed here in Texas. You know what? If someone doesn't like me, the f*** do I care? I have so many friends. I have family. I have people that do like me. And I don't care if someone in their heart hates black people. They probably have a valid reason. If I don't like a certain group of people, I have my own history with that group of people that I refer to. And I say, you know what? Whenever I'm around them, it's a bad smell. Or there's a, bunch of fighting or something like that. And I don't want to be around those people. So that is my choice. And you say, hey, it's wrong to raise people, that if you're a racist, you shouldn't raise children. I don't think you should feed your children McDonald's. I think if you take your children to McDonald's, you should have your children taken from you. That's my opinion, okay? And if somebody wants to say, hey, honey, I don't want you to hang out with this group, and they want to raise their kids that way, that's none of our business. As long as someone doesn't touch you and hurt you in some way, physically, who gives a what they think? If someone doesn't like your group, get over it. Get over it. Find some friends that do like you. Friends and family. That's what you got in this world. Friends and family. And if you don't have friends, it's probably because you're unpleasant or you're a whiny baby. So, that's my rant about that. If you don't like, a certain group of people, if you choose to be racist, great. I don't care. As long as people are nice and get me the things I want when I'm out and about and they're serving me, or, I don't care. I don't care if someone secretly doesn't like me. And I would encourage everyone else to just kind of grow up. And if someone doesn't like you, get the over it and find yourself some friends. And if you can't find friends, look to yourself and become more pleasant. That's my advice.